It's Tuesday. Tuesday here in sunny southern Wisconsin. Our weather is nice. It is about, I'd say 55 degrees out. As the dog decided to knock into everything. Memphis is here. She is obviously the co-host. Come here, Memphis. Come on. My lovely co-host for Dog Talk Live is here. We have a love affair going on, as you can see from her. She does not let me see the camera. She is obviously very, very into being the co-host, as she knocked my hat off and made it crooked. So, hope everyone's doing good. What did we work on today in training? We worked out of the dog blind. And what we're doing now is every day we work on the front pond. We work out of the dog blind and do retrieves out of it. I always work with birds every day when we get to this part in training. And we did that. And the other thing we worked on was just healing. Working on healing, working on our basics. Took them all for a longer walk to really work on that obedience so that we can make sure that our recall is good. Tomorrow, I've got a spot on my property that has some higher grass, so I'm going to work on retrieves in the higher grass. Kind of nice with it being cooler weather, so that I can work on that stuff so that we aren't working in high grass when it's super hot out. Not that we've had that problem this spring, but we're looking at, I think, next week hitting 70s every day, which is nice. That'll be a great change from yesterday having blue fingers working with the dogs. But it is such that it's more of a finishing the dogs up now and getting them ready for going home to their owners. And then we get our new groups in June, so we can start the whole Groundhog Day all over again. As you guys check in, let us know where you're from. Let us know what questions you have on your mind. Annette is checking in from New York. Great to see you. We have Oregon checking in. We got some people from Wisconsin that I know have checked in. So it is wonderful to see everyone. Debbie and John are checking in from Racine, Wisconsin. We got Verona with Brad. Let's see. Wow, we got Mark Eland is checking in and even gave us radio channels in Grand Pass, Oregon. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, Mark, but thanks for that. Corey from Memphis checking in. I thought it said Corey likes Memphis because we got our dog Memphis that's on the show. Corey from Memphis is checking in. I know we have some people that are big Scarlet fans. Come here, Scarlet. Come on up. Scarlett wants to say hi to everyone. She likes to get in and be part of the Dog Talk Live. As you guys check in, let us know if you have questions. It would be great to get some wonderful questions today so we could help you. Let me know. They can be questions about hunting, puppies, dog training, whatever you have questions on. We'd love to hear them. Scarlett loves having her muzzle kissed, so yeah, and she also loves to play, and she loves to bite. Whenever you see her leave, she's going to get a toy. So I'm sure I will have a toy dumped in my lap here in a couple of minutes. Yep, here we go. We got the dilapidated alligator who still has a lighted head if he gets battered around a little bit. So yeah, she's always more than happy to bring her toys to us. We got Spring Hill, Florida checking in. Trempealeau, Wisconsin. No problem giving you advice, Corey. We got East Troy just down the road from me. Annette from New Zealand. Hope you got the cow's milk today. Let's see, any idea on AKC hunt test will start back up? Oh, Bob, I have no idea. I know different parts of the country do have hunt tests and never stopped. I think Georgia kept them going. I think a lot of it depends on politics. If you have a Democrat governor, it seems like things are opening much slower. In my home state of Wisconsin, I know I was just at a strip mall, and there's a Lowe's, a PetSmart, and a clothing store called Maurice's. And in PetSmart, there was 25 people. In Lowe's, there was probably 100 people, and Maurice's is allowed to have 5 people. So depending on how good your lobby is with your state and if you're considered essential or not. That is pretty much how they're dictating how many people can be at an event. I would assume that something like a hunt test, I don't know if they're going to count the total number of people at the event, or if the people putting on the hunt test can set it up so that you only have a certain amount of people in a certain area. I mean, obviously it's an open air thing, so I would think that would hopefully help people get them approved. But if on state land, I just don't know how they're going to run it. So I would like to think, I know a lot of the clubs have their hunt test set up in Wisconsin, at least in June. So hopefully they will still run. I know in Wisconsin, generally in that the dog days of summer up here during mid-July to mid-August, there are no tests. So I would assume a lot of the tests will get pushed into then. But hopefully it'll get going soon. We got Josh checking in from Nebraska. We've got someone else that was checking in. Rashawn is checking in from saying hi. Good to see you. Let us know where you're from, guys. If you're on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, let me know questions you have. Duluth, Minnesota. We got Vermont. Let's see. Hello from Northern California. Any quick advice on steadiness? If you have not worked with an e-collar, work with an e-collar. What I will do for steadiness then is I just do short hand-thrown retrieves. You start with bumpers, work with birds after that, but something like right in the dog's face, 10 feet in front of them where they want to go so bad, or right in the edge of the pond in the water. That is what I do. I'm actually working on steadiness. I work work with the dogs out of at heel, and then we transition and work out of a dog blind. So that is what we're worried about. I never worry about the distance of the retrieve, and when I throw something, I actually never even see where it lands because I'm staring at the dog. And the minute they even move, I nick them with the collar and tell them no sit or no kennel if they're in a dog blind. Do you whistle train the sit before the come command? Amy, I do both with sit or the hear command. I basically transition both where you are working with them. You chain them together, so you're saying sit, beep, or hear, beep, beep, and you're chaining them together and giving both those commands at the same time. Use good body language if you're using a hand up with sit, or good body language where you're bent over at the waist for a hear. Use that body language as you're doing the whistle command with the voice command, and then within a couple of days you can transition to just whistle alone. But again, give that body language so that you can really help the dogs out. As people can see on YouTube, you can't see it on Facebook. Scarlett was biting my hand, so all there was my hand and a set of dog chompers around them. Steve's checking in from Washington. Good to see you. We got Gwen in Florida. We got Tara in North Carolina. Again, great questions. Let me know what other questions you have. If you're new to Dog Talk Live, we're just here to shoot the breeze about dogs, try to help you and answer any questions about puppies, training, for puppies, training for older dogs, or anything with hunting. My gosh, this has been such a crazy year. I just keep looking to fall and hoping that fall gets here quickly. It's funny. I told my son were saying that possibly school could be canceled in fall depending on how things go, and we've both decided that it was going to be a good thing because then we were going to be professional duck hunters on our property. We will do our homeschooling and then probably hunt more than he will ever hunt in his life. But I do hope that it comes back because I am not a good homeschool teacher. I'm not cut out for this. This is Scarlett's new toy she brought me. It is a fox that has tug pulls, but we're not going to do that because I'm not going to get ripped off of the chair here. We got the UK checking in. Good to see you. Annette, duck hunting opens on the 23rd here in New Zealand. We have just been through a drought, so there's not a lot of dams that are full. What's your thought on dogs wearing a wetsuit material swimming suit? Got a GSP, not sure if this will keep them warm. Annette, you want to put it on them if your temperatures are for labs, if it's below like 45, I'll put a neoprene vest on a dog. The thing to keep in mind is don't have it on them when it is super warm because you can actually overheat the dog. So you don't want to overheat them. But and the other thing is water temperature. If your water temperature is high, you don't have to worry as much about them. When you're working with dogs that aren't Labs or Chesapeakes, they're going to have less warming capacity in their coat. So having a GSP, I would probably definitely have a neoprene vest on the dog when when you're below 45. The thing there is with these vests, you want to make sure that the dogs have enough vest on, or have a vest that's tight enough on them to keep their body warmth in, and also make sure it's not rubbing anywhere on them. So on YouTube, let's see here, we just got a question. Should I play fetch for fun with my dog while doing force fetch? Tyler wants to know that. Tyler, you want to make sure things are still fun for the dog, but you're going to separate out your force fetch from your fun retrieves or fun bumpers. So don't go from where you're demanding fetch, hold, and then throw something and still be in force fetch mode. But do give the dog breaks. Do make things fun for the dog so that they are enjoying life and it's not all just punitive, because force fetch is very hard on them. I hope that helps you. We got Bob from Appleton. I'm an informative dude. Puppy coming home in 3 weeks. Potty training tips. Bob, thanks for calling me an informative dude. I like to think I am at times. I try to tell my wife how great I am and how lucky she is. I usually get punched, usually not in the face. She doesn't like to leave bruises. But Bob, with potty training, hour in the crate, hour out of the crate. Make sure the crate is just big enough where the dog can lay down comfortably and sleep. Otherwise, if your crate is too big, the dog will go to the bathroom on one end and sleep on the other. When you take them out of the crate after an hour, you are going to take them outside. I carry them outside to a designated area in the yard when they go to the bathroom. Good dog, high paw, good voice inflection. You're so wonderful. I can't believe you went outside. This is great. Take them in, let them run around and play in the house. After they've been out for an hour and you've watched them and you haven't had accidents, you're going to put them in the crate. Don't take them outside. Put them in the crate. Again, they don't want to go where they sleep. So this will facilitate them to start holding it for more than just 10 minutes like they are when they're puppies when you get them home. Again, have them in the crate, take them out. Good dog, carry them to the yard. If you have an accident, you're going to be watching them because they're only out for an hour. You're going to grab the puppy by the scruff, tell a bad dog. If you want to put the puppy's nose in it, that's fine too. You're going to give the dog a negative is what I'm saying. And then you're going to take them, even though they just went to the bathroom, you're going to take them out to the same area in the yard so that they do get to the point where they're understanding this is where I go, and you're going to be positive with them out there, negative if they go in the house. You can stretch that out over several hours as they get older, and you can always use the crate for when they're not being supervised. So that is my tip for you on potty training. SoggyAcres.com. If you go on the blog, there will be a good video or a good article written by Kate on there. All right, so we got, let's see here. Let's see, how do you get your dog to pick up a goose if they do not want to? What you're going to do, so one thing that people struggle with a lot is getting dogs to pick up bigger birds. What I always tell my clients is if you're going to goose hunt and you've got the big greater Canadians, Canada geese, you are going to want to go out, work with them on those birds, but don't make the first one they see when you take them out hunting and drop a bird. And if the bird is still lively and can kick the crap out of the dog, don't let that be their first retrieve as well, even after you've worked on them. But get yourself some geese that you take early in the season and then just play with them in the yard. Make sure it's a smaller one. Play with them, make it fun, swing the bird around, throw it. Good dog, make everything positive reinforcement. I had a gentleman that was one of our guides up in, it was Alberta. And we went out in the field, and I didn't have my dogs along because I flew. And he told me, he's like, well, I don't know how good my dog will be. She won't retrieve, eh? And with his Canada accent, and I'm like, won't retrieve. She did great on ducks. No, she won't do geese. So we got first flight came in. We got some geese down, and the dog knocks our YouTube live off. And the dog, I had the goose, and I sat there and played with it. The dog started biting at it, took it, threw it. Dog brought a goose back, retrieve the rest of the time. Again, with force fetch, have them go through force fetch. They'll understand they have to retrieve things, but geese are big, so you still want to make things fun and get them so that they understand, yes, this is a good thing, go and retrieve it. If you don't raise your own birds, should you freeze some? Is the next question. Yes, I freeze most of my early ducks I get for my training ducks. I will actually take all of my teal that I get generally to a certain point, and then a lot of the wood ducks, I like to have smaller ducks for training, and I will keep usually around 16 birds, which is almost a limit, but we've got enough people in the house that we always have plenty. But I'll keep 16 birds in the freezer for my groups of training dogs. You can buy training birds, you just have to know where to buy them. And if you ask around on some of the training forums, I'm sure you'll find a place that sells them in your area too. If you are going to waterfowl hunt, do not just use pheasants or chukars. I will tell you, I firmly believe that dogs think that a pheasant is like a T-bone steak and a duck is about like a bad hamburger or a piece of liver. They don't like them as much, so make sure that you are letting them retrieve whatever their quarry is going to be so that when they get in the field, they're successful. I can also tell you with a straight face, the worst tasting bird that I have seen dogs retrieve is a woodcock. They do not like those, and they will bring them back almost like they're saying yuck. So that is my experience with birds. Hi, Jeff from California. Started working in water. Do you follow the same type drills as you do on land? Back pile T drills. Yeah, Jeter, you're going to actually set up almost like a water tee with your dog, but make sure you're good on your T drill. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to have your back pile across. Most trainers will have a pond that is oval shaped, and then they will put the back pile here and run from down here. And then they'll have the over piles. My pond, I do not have it's called a swim by pond. I do not have that, but what I have is I have the end of my pond, which is like this. So then I have, my one over pile is floating, the other one's on land, and then I've got my back pile. Just remember that when you are stopping the dog, I will hit the whistle and then call them to me and tell them sit. The dog will obviously not sit, but they'll pause for a second, and then you can give them your command. Hope that helps. You can probably find some video on that as well. I think we should have some on our YouTube channel where I've done water tea. Let's see, just going into winter. It is cold in New Zealand. All right. Braden's checking in from South Dakota. Brad from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You guys have kept me on my toes. We've had some good questions today. Sorry, I am gonna start coughing here if I didn't get something in my gullet. Let's see. I'm gonna check and see. I don't think we have any new questions on YouTube. Again, Dog Talk Lives, we run generally about 15 to 30 minutes. We try to do them every day. I think as things open up and people go back to work, we're going to move to probably twice a week or 3 times a week. But as of right now, with everyone stuck at home, if I can be entertainment, what the heck? I will be entertainment. But we want you to bring your questions. If you're watching this after the fact, feel free to put the question up as a comment, and I will come back and check and answer it later. If you have something you don't want to ask on our live or on a comment after, you can always email me, sportingdogtv@gmail.com. That would be fine. I'm going to look real quick here and see. Let's see. Do we have any questions in our email? I don't believe we have any questions in our email. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions in email. So we're pretty much answered all of them and caught up. Where can we get live birds here in southeast Wisconsin? There is a area over by Bong Recreation Center, so not far from you, John. I can't remember what their name is, but if you go on some sites, you will find their sites. But they sell a lot of birds to people that train over at Bong. Don Olmstead, how are you doing, Don? Jeff, any of your dogs have elbow calluses? If so, is there anything you do to help them? Dawn, they get calluses. That's just from laying on hard surface. It's not a bad thing. Most of the dogs, especially dogs that end up in the kennel, will have them kennel for any period of time because they're on concrete. Dogs don't like to lay on the dog bed, of course. They always lay on the concrete, or they always lay not on the dog. Okay, dogs don't lay on their dog crate. Usually they lay right on the concrete, so that causes the calluses to grow. But it's not a big deal. It's not bad for them. All right, let's see here. We got so many questions from on our YouTube, I cannot see them. All right. So yeah, I apologize. I can't see any more questions on YouTube. So if I do not answer your question, put it up as a comment on YouTube as well, and I'll come back and check it. Do you recommend ProPlan Sport? ProPlan Sport's a good food. We feed American Natural Premium. We also feed. I've fed Eukanuba in the past. Fromm is a good food. There are a lot of good foods out there. You don't have to feed the fancy foods that cost like $80, $90 a bag. You just want to get a good, solid food. Generally speaking, if something is sold at PetSmart or Petco, or Fleet Farm or Farm and Fleet or one of those type stores, it's going to be a better quality food than if you buy it at your grocery store. Yes, they never want to sleep on a nice bed. What is the training you do that you enjoy most with the pups? Dan, you know what? Getting the wings out and letting the puppies play with the wings is fun when they're little pups. As far as training older dogs like we are now, I enjoy the last 2 to 3 weeks when you're teaching. Most of your early training is all obedience and control, and it's really tough. It's hard on the dog. It's hard on the trainer because it's very physical as you're having to make sure they're healing the right way. You're doing your trained retrieve. So it is much more enjoyable once you're teaching concepts to the dogs, like I did today, where it's going from the land into the water, back up onto land, and stuff like that. All right, so that is pretty much going to be it. I'm going to see here. Do we have any more? That's going to be pretty much it on, let's see, what are some things I can do to make more fun time for my dog, not always just working, Tyler asks on YouTube. So we'll answer one more quick. Tyler, training should be 10 to 15 minutes a day, and after that, life is fun. So don't overtrain. Don't make it where you're working with your dog for an hour, hour and a half at a time. Make your training short, give high praise, and also have a negative repercussion that the dog understands. All right. Recommend a first aid kit. John, I actually have all of my own stuff. I've put my own first aid kit together, so I don't know any first aid kits that are out there. I have all different types of antibiotics. I've got a stapler. I've got vet wrap. I've got gauze. I've got stuff to clean wounds. I've got topicals. So I don't know what is out there, but I know there are several dog type first aid kits out there, but I am going to have to plead the fifth on that one. Well, hey, that's it for today's Dog Talk Live. Thank you so much for all the great questions. It was a great day. If you have questions after the fact, please put them up, and we will try to come back and answer them. I'll be back tomorrow. We always shoot between to try to get in around 1 or 2. So I will be back on tomorrow, and I hope everyone has a great, blessed day. Take care. God bless.